Hello, people of the realms. It is I, the Knight. As you know, I am ever watchful over the actions of our lords that have held reign over this realm, and I am here to say that some of them are superior to others. In fact, today I will be going through and I'll be listing them off as to some of their feats in just a short amount, and I shall be ranking them on a list. Now, I have been helped most graciously by one of our wizards from the tower, and as such, I have been granted this seeing scroll that allows one to copy an image of the past. I'm not quite sure how it works, but alas, here we are. And so, I would like to start with talking about the first lord that many know of, Cortius. Now, I do believe Cortius has been very effective as a lord, as they have allowed the knights to be exempt from many of the laws present in the land, as long as they have been on a quest either from the Lord themselves or from one of the holy gods. As such, I love Cortius. I love what they have done for the realms, and honestly, I would be amiss to give them anything less than an A tier. And so Cortius goes here. Now, it brings me great honor to speak of the next lord on this list that has been procured by our finest scribesmen. This one is Fingledom. Fingledom, as I understand it, has been most helpful in all of the realms. In fact, I have scoured many a book to better understand his works, and I have to say, they are indeed the greatest lord to ever exist in the realms. For one, they open up the transit by scouring through and scourging the land of many a foul beast and laying waste to some of the forests that were in between some of the towns that needed to transport goods between. Some may see this as an act of treason against some of the Fey folk, but as the Fey have been known to play many tricks and to attack us, I'd say, if anything, this is but a boon to our people. And so, in the realms, I have to say that not only have they been helpful in making the procurement of goods better, they've also helped the knights and those who seek to protect you, such as I, by raising our pay by 30% throughout their entire reign or their lordship. As such, it would do me great honor to have to mention the last thing. The last thing they did was they banished and created a law against growing mushrooms in town. I know there are many who love the growing of mushrooms, but such a thing has been sullying and ruining many a walkway, and has been a means of crafting different potions and spells. As such, I have to put Fingledom in S tier. They have done most excellent service to all of the realms. Next on the list, Gurmote. Gurmote is one of the lords that I am a bit iffy on. As you can see, he is someone who is very war-oriented. They fought in many a war, and as such they were able to achieve lordship over their many campaigns against different Fae, different kingdoms, and overall were good, I would say. They suffered a bit when they tried to make peace treaties between the Fae folk, and instead of being peaceful after a war with them, they gave up 3/4 of our wood-cutting forests, meaning that we now have far less goods to sell to other kingdoms, and even among ourselves. We dare not have enough wood to craft more houses. As such, I would put them in C tier, because while they were a war hero, and quite good at that, mind you, they gave away too much for the sake of peace. So Gurmote gets a C tier as a lord. Next, I would like to talk about Curvain. Curvain is Gurmote's son, and one of the only lords that has risen up due to the status of their father, which is quite rare among many kingdoms, but not the realms. And so, I would have to say Curvain is especially boring. He did almost nothing for the sake of anyone, and he decided to tack on 7 useless holidays for the Fae's god of the forest, whatever that may mean. Surely it is of no help to anyone here. And so I'm going to give Curvain the first D tier. They have not been helpful in the realms in the slightest. Ugh. Too much partying and too much merrymaking. Whatever. What do you mean? What do you mean the kingdom's under attack? The gnomes are upset that we ran over them in their forests, in their homes. So? They're in the way. Whatever. Next up is Mildrar. Mildrar is a wonderful lord and was able to show that while some foes and some acquaintances of ours may not be akin to having the best of motives and spirits with us, that we could still make a great deal with them. In this case, the gnomes were upset at us for the mushroom law that was passed in town, as they quite like mushrooms, but we would not allow them in their homes. And what Mildrar did is they allowed them to go back into the forest that we'd given to the Fae, as they are also Fae, and said that we shall protect them from some of the more nefarious tricksters in the forest, and all they have to do is pay taxes of 50% more than they were originally paying to the Lord. As such, everybody in town prospered from the greater abundance of materials and some gold. It's bizarre. Gnomes have more gold than I would expect, and we offer them protection by visiting them and sending knights to them. As such, I have to give Mildrar a B tier. Mildrar has done great work in making amends with many different people, mostly the gnomes, of course. Next on our scroll, our list, we have Poltine. Poltine is an interesting lore. They didn't really do anything, really. They were just fascinated with wizards and magic and the like. One rumor says that they turned their wife into a newt. That is incorrect. What they actually did is they hired a wizard who attempted to cast a spell of beauty on her, instead turned her into a goblet, which whenever you drink from it, you are compelled to sing for 6 days. The Lord died singing. That was lovely. His singing was horrid, but his actions were not anything of note. If anything, he would deserve a place in the C tier, as, well, he didn't do anything good, he didn't do anything bad, but his story is funny, and that's all you really need sometimes in the realms, is a good laugh. It's a shame what happened to his wife, though. So, C tier for Poltine. Next, among the lords, we have Quapsleer. Now, Quapsleer was extremely paranoid, was told by some sage that they were going to be assassinated in their sleep. Because of their paranoia, they decided to give more work to everybody within guard duty or the knights, and they decided that everyone would get overtime. In fact, we worked many an hour, many a day, many a fortnight, and many of us were able to retire at ripe old ages. Myself, I worked for longer than most in this era, although his reign was rather short. I was able to work until the ripe old age of 27. I'm 29. I hope to live until I'm 35. But, with all that being said, that time was actually quite nice. It was the safest to be alive and around within any town, and there was no real issues besides just the paranoia of the Lord, which was actually quite pleasant for most of us. What did happen, however, is they were assassinated in their sleep. Turns out, when you leave a window open for a fair maiden to go into your window, you also leave your window open for a knife to the neck. And so, I will have to give Quapsleer a B, because, well, again, they didn't do much, but at least they did something to let people retire. Next on our list, we have Oronk. Now, Oronk was the first dwarven lord, and he was quite good with many methods of smithing. In fact, he was able to procure my current helmet, while not the best that the realms has had to offer. I do say it quite fits my head nicely, and he was able to sharpen and improve many of our weapon making methods, as well he opened up many an opportunity within the mines. So many people had jobs in the mines. There was some complaining from some of the Fey folk and some of the people of the forest, but it wasn't really anything to note. They also had jobs, mind you. I know that some pixies were allowed to be put on the end of a stick so they could detect if there's anything dangerous in the mines, and they were paid quite well if they got out alive. So I would have to say for this Lord Ronk, he's quite pleasant to be around, loved to go to bars quite often, and I would have to give them an A tier. They did an excellent work within the realms. Gosh, I miss them. Now, finally, we have the last lord on the list. This one is Wimplenack, a very short lord. I do believe they are a fae of some kind, and they have many tricks they seem to pull at parties. And while the little tiny humans love to look up to them, the little kids, whatever, I dare say they have been the worst lord that has ever been here in the realms. You see, they decided to give all fae folk who are not nefarious, and I mean all of them, the gnomes, the pixies, even the little truffly guys, the ones that live underneath the ground, they decided to give every single one of them the same rights as a knight, which means if they go on a quest that is procured by their forest deity, that they are now allowed to kill a knight that has trampled their homes. Disgusting. How dare they just give it to any of the more common folk that don't even know what a righteous god is. Disgusting. Not only that, they decide to give away more of the forest, tear down some of the roads that some of the past lords have made so that we could have proper transit between our towns and our cities, and allow even the families of those who would normally use these routes to perish by the wayside because they cannot make the journey through the forest that used to be safe. Now, I despise them. But even so, I would not wish death upon them. I simply wish for a better lord, and soon we shall get one. So, for dear Wimplenack, I would have to give them an F tier, and they shall remain until they allow me to go drinking past the time of 10. Awful. I'm retired. Let me go and drink. Anyways, they shall get an F tier. That shall conclude our list today. I shall end this scrying scroll, or whatever it was called, seer scroll. I'm not sure what the wizards do nowadays. I just know I use it. And so, I wish you all farewell. Remember, defend yourselves. Do not give gnomes any mushrooms. They will simply give you some weird bread that makes you feel funny, and I don't think that's safe for you or the kids. And besides that, I wish you all farewell. Oh, I have been quickly reminded that I must remind all of the people of the realms to brush thine teeth, or I shall have to come over and smite off one of thine limbs. And so, please, brush thine teeth, and be safe.